1 million species are at risk of extinction. 1 million. Nature is calling us, all of us. We are at the beginning of the most profound change to nature seen in our lifetimes. Human activity has led to the demise of biodiversity and destruction of habitats, leading to damaged and dysfunctional ecosystems. Significant changes in land and sea use, climate breakdown, exploitation of species, pollution, and introduction of non-native and invasive species have all drastically depleted nature.
We have to take this nature emergency as seriously as we're taking climate.
We can find the ways in which we can bring government, civil society and the private sector together in partnership and link that then to the ambition of turning the historic decline of nature into one of recovery, then this could be an historic moment.
It's not too late to recover nature. Nature is key to our resilience, and we need to act now with courage and vision to restore the ecosystems upon which we all depend. JNCC brought the UK's country nature conservation bodies together to speak with one voice on the vital role that nature plays in our prosperity, well-being, and our survival.
The statutory nature conservation bodies and the Joint Nature Conservation Committee have produced a really powerful statement which emphasises how much nature underpins our economy and society's well-being.
We're all ready, we're all willing, and we're all able to move forward and help address the biodiversity challenge that we all face.
We shared our joint call for urgent action before COP15, where the world came together and adopted the new Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. There is indeed cause for hope. This agreement represents a truly historic moment, our opportunity to bend the curve on global biodiversity loss.
There is a real opportunity here for partnership with other organisations across government, with the non-government sector, with industry. Let's continue the initiative, let's continue the momentum for nature and for ourselves.
We're ready to bring our enthusiasm, energy and confidence to take up the challenge to turn words into tangible results by using robust evidence, data and information to inform our analyses, judgments and advice to support decision-making. Working in partnership domestically and internationally, JNCC has been at the heart of understanding the state and change of nature and what impact humanity is having on natural systems. JNCC will continue to work with the country nature conservation bodies across the UK to help implement the Global Biodiversity Framework across the UK overseas territories, Crown dependencies and internationally.
JNCC has been working with the territories now for several years. It is an organisation in the UK that gets the territories the need to work in partnership to ensure long-term sustainability. We all want the same thing, so it's really important for us to work together.
Together, we will continue our mission to turn science into action for nature conservation and recovery. We depend on nature, and nature depends on us. We need to act now, together, for nature.
The first time I heard him sing, something in me changed. Through all the noise, his song cut through. It drew me to him. I thought of a life together. I thought of children, our very own. But something kept pushing us apart. beyond the ringing in my head.
What we're doing here is we're testing 4 different types of reef cubes. What they provide is a low carbon, biodiversity enhancing alternative to more traditional types of materials such as reinforced marine concrete and quarried rock. Arc Marine, one of the suppliers that we're working with to do the work here at Newlyn, they are providing 25% of the armour units that are going in.
Using locally sourced materials, Arc Marine's reef cubes are made of 98% recycled material. They also have an outstanding 91% lower carbon footprint than that of Portland cement, which is used in concrete production. They are completely plastic free, which prevents any harmful toxins from entering the marine environment.
For the local community, it's incredibly important, especially also as there is a steady rise in sea levels. There's a benefit towards positivity. Projects like this, although they might appear small in a way, are all moving in the right direction.
We've got 4 different designs, 4 different suppliers. If we look at the Arc Marine blocks, they actually have a void in the centre of the block to sort of encourage water retention. Some of the blocks have been fabricated using a byproduct material, granite dust.
The idea behind these eco-blocks is to try and break up the wave energy so that it doesn't surge up the river. Local algae and limpets and so on can populate the actual blocks and therefore create a mini habitat.
What we want to sort of demonstrate through the work is that there is a greener and more sustainable alternative to providing this type of hard coastal armouring where it's still required. So we're really excited to be working with Arc Marine. We've got a good awareness of the successful implementation of their technology, and hopefully it provides the platform for an ongoing working relationship.
What is natural capital? It is the stock of natural resources we have in the world, such as the air, water, soil, animals, and living things. But nature is degrading fast, and we need a better way to look after these resources. One way is by using a natural capital approach. This is when we consider the economic, environmental, and social value of these natural resources and the benefits they provide for us. This approach helps us to put nature at the heart of decision making. One resource in particular is the ocean. We all benefit from the ocean, from the jobs it creates, as somewhere to relax and play, and its role in climate regulation. The ocean has economic, environmental, and social value. This is why at DEFRA we've established the Marine Natural Capital and Ecosystem Assessment Programme, MNCEA. This ambitious 3-year research and development programme will address gaps in what we know about the ocean and its health. It will help us make more balanced decisions about our ocean and better protect it for the future. Our vision is for a thriving marine environment where nature is at the heart of decision making.
When we think about the marine environment, we have to consider the seabed in a holistic way. We need to generate renewable energy. We have a marine environment that has a biodiversity that's in crisis, so we need to look at nature recovery. We also have a whole number of other infrastructure that needs space on the seabed. So having reliable data and evidence helps us in creating the most attractive and sustainable marine economy in the world.
The Marine Data Exchange was created by the Crown Estate back in 2013. It's the first of its kind and a world-leading database of research and evidence that's freely available and accessible to everybody. So the types of data on the Marine Data Exchange are vast, from fish, marine mammals, birds, all the way through to the geology of the seabed to give offshore projects a valuable head start. Collecting survey data offshore is expensive. The Marine Data Exchange holds over 260 terabytes of survey data. That's the equivalent to 65 million photos. And that survey data to collect today would cost over £1.5 billion.
So for emerging sectors where it's not clear how profitable a development might be, having that data freely available is really valuable.
10 years ago, a lot of geological data was collected in preparation for building a wind farm off North Wales. However, it wasn't taken forward. Fast forward 10 years' time, and developers have been able to use the data collected 10 years ago to reduce the amount of time and carbon emissions to develop these projects.
In order to accelerate the sustainable development on the seabed, we need to collaborate on a level never seen before, and to do that, data and evidence will be key.
The Marine Data Exchange can provide information on biodiversity levels of existing habitats and identify opportunities for habitat restoration and nature recovery across the UK.
The Marine Data Exchange breaks down barriers to education through the provision of open and accessible data, ultimately driving innovation. We want to ensure that the data is easy to find and accessible, meaning that people can download it with ease, but also to ensure that the platform is inspiring to everyone.
Really, we want to inspire people to use that data to inform their decision making, and do so using world-class data and evidence that you'll find through the Marine Data Exchange.
I'm Eve Leaguewater. I work at the Environment Agency in the Estuaries and Coast Planning team. We're here today at Sturt in Somerset in the southwest of England. This is one of our many flagship sites where saltmarsh has been restored. We've worked in partnership with the Wildfowl Wetlands Trust. Saltmarshes used to be considered no man's land. They have very little value to society. Nowadays, saltmarshes are considered the most widespread and important blue carbon habitats outside of the tropics. And they also support biodiversity and fisheries. Blue carbon is the carbon stored within estuarine, coastal and marine ecosystems. So the Blue Carbon Fund aims to highlight the value of these ecosystems and their role around climate mitigation. The fund will also support the development of the second phase of the UK Saltmarsh Carbon Code. We've seen how the Carbon Code has encouraged that restoration of peatland habitats and woodland sites, so we'd really like to see the Carbon Code supporting saltmarsh restoration. The Blue Carbon Fund will also support the development of our Restoring Meadows, Marsh and Reef programme, known as Rememory. So the Rememory programme aims to reverse centuries of decline of these habitats. Rememory has a target that will restore 15% of our salt marshes, seagrass beds and oyster reefs all around the English coastline. These habitats can help us on the UK path to net zero.
We are the Marine Management Organisation, England's marine manager. Climate change, a changing coastal and marine economy, resilient, clean and secure independent energy production. MMO plays a key role in these global challenges. Through our 6 key services, MMO plays a vital role in managing our precious marine environment and supporting and assuring those who use it. Our commitment to our seas and coasts is strong. It has to be, because making the most of the sea's potential while protecting its precious ecosystems matters more with each passing year. Planning, licensing and managing the use of England's marine resources presents a diverse set of demands and also opportunities to help make a real and positive difference to lives now and for generations to come. Nothing stands still at sea. So we are modernising our services, how we work, the tools we use to deliver on our ambitions for our seas and coasts, and crucially, how we engage and support our stakeholders and customers. We are delivering a range of new digital services for our customers. We're also working to modernise systems for MMO colleagues. Data and evidence continue to grow as a vital part of our DNA. As an outcome and service-focused regulator, we put our customers first. We know we're here to support them to thrive in an environment where sustainability and conservation are critical to their success now and in the future. MMO delivers our services through a network of local coastal offices and hubs across England. Our colleagues work tirelessly to deliver for customers. We support each other and our partners to make the most of the technical skills, expertise and experience that makes MMO a leader in marine management. We are connected to the communities around us, locally, nationally and globally. We keep learning and applying that new knowledge wherever in the world our expertise can enhance management of the oceans. We live by our MMO values. We are accountable, innovative, engaging and inclusive. We act to ensure we deliver the outcomes that best serve customers and stakeholders' needs, while protecting and enhancing our precious marine environment. We look to the future. We know what we must achieve to meet the challenges ahead: environmental, economic and social, including the climate emergency, environmental protection and recovery, and energy security. We exist to manage our marine environment, and we want to manage it well for future generations. We see MMO's future, a vibrant future where we continue to support the right actions for our precious marine environment and for the people whose livelihoods, communities and heritage that our marine sustains. This is MMO, this is our MMO. Thank you for being part of it.
always led by the evidence, we're always led by what the science says. We never compromise on that, and we always try and provide that best possible advice to the government here in the UK, to governments around the world, to help them make these really hard decisions about how we secure a sustainable future for our marine environment.
Data and innovation drive everything that we do. We use a range of surveillance, mapping and sampling technologies. So we have a collection of multidisciplinary scientists, all contributing in a number of different areas towards the same positive outcomes for society.
CFAS conducts fieldwork around the world to give us insights into marine life. I may be sampling pelagics or shellfish in Newland Market, analysing footage for remote electronic monitoring in the office, or working offshore sampling a beamer near Brixham.
Our research gives us insight into global threats that affect the marine environment. The CFAS research leads into international monitoring programs and policy strategies.
CFAS works with communities and governments all around the world to find solutions. At CFAS, we believe in working in partnership to protect our ocean.
CFAS science is going to become ever more important as we go forward. As I say, these challenges that we're facing aren't going to go away, and we're going to need science to be absolutely at the heart of that. But I think our future will be to embrace new technologies, embrace new opportunities to use the data that we collect for good.
The seas around Britain and Ireland are our biggest wilderness, covering more than 3 times the area of our landmass. They're incredibly rich and diverse, and have the potential to be some of the most productive seas on the planet. But damaging human activity has turned them into a shadow of their former abundance. Dredging, bottom trawling, overfishing, pollution, and climate change. Our destruction of the seas has been hidden beneath the waves for decades. Now, more than ever, we need our seas to return to their former strength. How can we combine our increasing demands on our seas at the same time as ensuring the health of this vital ecosystem? Human exploitation now touches every corner of this vast wilderness, Combined, all our activities have caused a cascade of events and have the potential to completely disrupt our entire ocean system. We are now at a pivotal point in our history.
We're the generation with the technology and the power, and we do know. And with that knowledge comes the ability to act in the right ways to make a difference.
By making a number of key changes now, our oceans can recover surprisingly quickly. First, we need to reform fishing practices.
There is a plethora of tools out there, innovative fishing techniques for reducing the impact on marine habitats and marine species.
In some areas, new technology is already making a difference. Devices that emit acoustic and electrical signals can deter non-target species from hooks and nets, and they aren't expensive. To recover and increase our fish populations, a tried and tested method is setting sustainable quotas.
What we need now is the implementation of best practice fisheries management to rebuild fish stocks, restore ecosystems, while managing exploitation at a sustainable level.
And we're seeing the results with the return of bluefin tuna to our seas.
So the managers in the Mediterranean for many, many years were ignoring the scientific advice about how to manage bluefin tuna fisheries. They were setting the quotas too high, so the fisheries were unsustainable. But over the last sort of 5, 6 years, we've seen them following the scientific advice much more closely, and we've seen recovery of bluefin tuna. Not just in the Med, but it's spread out to the UK, to Ireland, and it shows if you listen to the scientists, you can get it right. These things have amazing potential to recover.
By protecting specific areas of our seas, we provide safe havens for wildlife. 38% of UK waters are designated as marine protected areas, but only a tiny proportion offers true protection, where nothing can be extracted or disturbed.
There are only 4 tiny no-take zones. They make up something like 0.002% of British waters. And so most marine protected areas, they either do very little to restrict any activities, or they do nothing at all.
No-take zones give the entire ecosystem the best chance to recover. And it's not just within their borders that we see improvements.
Once the eggs get fertilized, those tiny little baby fish drift around in the plankton for 3 or 4 weeks, and they spread out. And so effectively those protected areas are reseeding all the surrounding areas with baby fish and shellfish. Even though you're closing some areas off, it actually boosts your overall production in terms of seafood.
These areas not only boost marine life, they protect and enlarge vital habitats, benefiting coastal communities and help in the fight against climate change.
This is this really clever crossover area between dealing with the impacts of climate change and restoring marine biodiversity. We already know that certain coastal habitats lock away for thousands of years vast quantities of carbon.
Things like salt marsh, seagrass, these are things that we call blue carbon because they're even better than rainforests at absorbing carbon from the atmosphere.
These natural, complex ecosystems also mitigate against storm surges and rising sea levels. As our use of the ocean grows, so does the demand for space. What we need urgently is a holistic, planned approach, pulling together the tools, knowledge, and techniques we have and applying them in the right way. To achieve this, first we need to know the areas that need our protection. In Scotland, this has already begun, mapping out where extraction is taking place, as well as their marine protected areas and wildlife hotspots. But we need this for all our waters, to ensure all future development allows our seas to recover. Business and their direct relationship with consumers will play a crucial role in this future restoration of our seas.
So you've got a consumer over here who is ready for the change. You know, they understand more, they know more, they want to see action. You've got governments over here who are still trying to formulate some kind of plan, but we can't wait for that. Business is in that middle position that can satisfy their consumer, but they can move much, much faster than a government.
If a business is thinking about buying non-sustainable marine food, fish or other seafood, I would just say you don't have any excuse to do that. Organisations like the Marine Conservation Society, who have their Fish Online guide, which rates species from different fisheries from 1 to the best choice to 5 to avoid.
We must act now to ensure the recovery of our seas. And in doing so, we'll enter a rare win-win situation, where improving nature for its own sake also becomes hugely beneficial to all of us, in ways most of us have never imagined.
Heading out of Plymouth in the morning for the day of days. Over the last few years, we've had aggregations of one of the world's oceanic super predators, and that's bluefin tuna. Back in the day, there was a bluefin tuna fishery here, and then they're all fished out, and rather fantastically, they're back. Scientists are now tagging them, monitoring their movements, and figuring out why this extraordinary animal has appeared off our coasts and how to keep it safe and make sure the numbers stay up.
We have had no information on bluefin tuna since the 50s when they left, so we are starting from scratch. We need to know how many there are, where they're going, what they're feeding on, what they're doing, why they're here, how long are they in our waters. All of this stuff helps us to build up a scientific basis of what the population is doing in our waters. We want these fish here for forever. So normally the fishermen are putting out what we call Floyd tags, spaghetti tags. They're just a regular dart tag. These are satellite tags, so these are going out for 90 days and they'll pop up.
It's like a little scientist hanging on to it, measuring water temperature, depth, speed, acceleration, all this sort of really important stuff to understand these animals more. So bluefin are one of the most explosive predators in the marine environment, and that manifests itself with activity on the surface. So you'll see a splash or you see an explosion of water as they drive bait fish to the surface, which is the hunting activity of bluefin. So we're closing in on it right now. Lines are going out the back, and hopefully we'll get stuck into a bluefin.
The Atlantic bluefin tuna can weigh as much as 2 grizzly bears and can accelerate 3 times as faster than a Formula 1 racing car. A single bluefin tuna has previously sold for $1.7 million.
Right. Yeah. Roger. Okay. So the kit's quite heavy duty, and the reason for that is to create minimal stress for the tuna. Think of tuna as kind of animals that can accelerate, the sprinters, but this animal's shown phenomenal endurance as well, and of course they range vast distances over the ocean as well, so that ability to keep going for a long time is phenomenal. It's only been on sort of 10 minutes or so, and that's good, because you're trying to minimize the stress to it, get it tagged and get it away as quickly as possible. You can see it now, you can see it just there, and hopefully it'll be kind of worn out enough to come quietly to the side of the boat. bluefin tuna at the side of the boat. And what the scientists are doing now, they're doing a visual assessment, they're assessing its length and measuring it, and they're going to put a tag in. But then the fish is held at the side of the boat for a while. They're allowing it to recover, and then they'll let it go. So it's a quick and very urgent process that's happening at the moment for the welfare of the animal. There's a tag going in. Tag in at 13:01. And it's been an unbelievable day already. We're surrounded by feeding activity, and I think we've caught 5 so far today. And although you could describe this as sport fishing, there's this great sort of higher purpose, Mark.
Well, we know so little about these creatures, and we're involved in the scientific research program where we're tagging the fish, and obviously we're doing stock assessments, we're doing all sorts of bits and pieces, but at the same time we're actually giving people the opportunity through chartering to actually see this for themselves and actually catch these wonderful fish. So it's science and obviously social economic at its best.
We're turning for home now, and it's been the most remarkable day. It's been an extraordinary day anywhere on Earth. This number of large oceanic predators in one area. The really interesting thing here is the response of local skippers and local organisations to the presence of these bluefin. It hasn't been to rush out and try and catch as many as possible. It's been to work with local conservation groups and scientific groups and charities and say, okay, how can we all work together to tag these animals and make sure they're here, not for next year and the year after, but for decades and centuries ahead as a really precious natural resource off the coast of the UK. So it's been a wonderful day on so many levels.
My name is Ernest Gibson. I'm the chair of the Coastal SIG, the LGA Coastal SIG, of course. We represent 57 authorities, but also 1.6 million people.
So I'm Becky, I'm the lead officer for the LGA Coastal SIG.
I'm Bethany Hanson, I'm the project officer for the LGA Coastal Special Interest Group.
The Pledge for a Coast is where each council can make a promise what they're going to achieve for the coast to make our coastline better. It could be something like very unique, very small, but everything will make a difference, from reducing plastic on the beach, from making a pledge of saying we're going to reduce litter on the beach, we're going to introduce more bins, but what we could be doing is we're going to restore habitats. It's a pledge to make our environment a sustainable centre for our future.
Which we want everybody to get involved in, to really say how the coastal community should be supported and what they want to do to make a change.
So we're doing a united pledge to commemorate Year of the Coast. I think it's that united front that's really what we're trying to get from it, and trying to encourage people to do, and because the coast is, you know, it's a big part of these communities that live here, and there's always something you can do for the coast. There's always some small part that you can play in you know, enjoying the coast or appreciating it and looking after it as well.